Elections have consequences. We are seeing that play out in real time before our eyes on the world stage. We want to talk to two lawmakers who are actually living and breathing this issue with us, Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey and Congressman Van Taylor of Texas. So good to see both of you. Thank you so much for joining us to tackle this difficult issue. Congressman Van Drew, I'll start with you. What is your take on what has transpired in Afghanistan and the steps you think need to be taken right now to staunch the bleeding?
Complete disaster. It is literally one of the worst times, worst events, most terrible things we have seen in American history. Completely botched up. The president didn't listen to even his own advisors, civilian and military. He did precisely the wrong thing the wrong way for so many reasons. Didn't have a conditional exit, didn't have any idea of what was going on the ground, literally either lied or had no sense of what was going to happen because he said it was going to be nothing like Saigon. Well, it was obviously much worse. I have asked in the past, and I'm going to ask again, it is time for this president to resign, as well as his vice president, and honestly, the Senate leader and the speaker. This is disastrous. And let me say one more thing. If he doesn't, I think this president needs a cognitive test. I want to know, did he do this purposely, or does he not know even what's going around him?
Congressman Taylor, I want to come to you. Obviously, you have served in Iraq. You've got brothers and sisters in arms that have lost their life in this struggle. Obviously, constituents as well who have been engaged in this struggle to ensure that Afghanistan does not become that beachhead of terrorism to attack the Western world. What do you make of this predicament we find ourselves in today?
Well, the president has completely failed the American people and really the world. We went into Afghanistan 20 years ago because that's where al-Qaeda had the training camps to conduct the attacks that took place on the United States on September 11, 2001. And we have stopped terrorist attacks coming out of Afghanistan, attacking the United States or even the rest of the world for 20 years. And now we have handed the entire country of Afghanistan is now controlled by terrorists. And ISIS is there, al-Qaeda is there, and it's only a matter of time until they build up their resources and start conducting attacks against the United States or the rest of the world.
Now, Congressman, I actually want to stick with you and come back to you, Congressman Van Drew, in a little bit. But on that specific point, I want to put the potential threat to the homeland and to the world in perspective. The idea was to fight them over there so we don't have to fight them here. On some basic level, have we gotten to the point right now where, to that specific point, we've created a vacuum where terrorists are actually going to be more dangerous today than they were when we got to Afghanistan?
Yeah, and that's probably the key point is the naivete of the Democrats to think if we pull back from Afghanistan, there isn't a vacuum that will be then filled by somebody bad. You would think that President Biden, when he was vice president, would have learned his lesson in Iraq when the United States drew precipitously in 2012, and then ISIS came out of it. And fortunately, President Trump was able to clean up that mess and destroy ISIS and kind of restore the region back to some semblance of order and at least eliminate ISIS as a terrorist threat to the world. And here, exact same mistake. Withdraw, but this is much worse. You have an entire country, the entire country of Afghanistan, with no good basing opportunity to go back in and do the counterterrorism you need to do. In addition, we have another disaster on our hands where we have thousands of Americans trapped in Afghanistan right now, and the administration does not have a working plan to get them all out. They are planning to leave by August 31st, right. And there is no way to get everybody out that needs to get out in that amount of time. Well, the administration is planning for yet another failure as we speak.
Absolutely. I mean, it seems like failure compounded on failure. Congressman Van Drew, I'll come to you because we do have this almost line in the dust that's been drawn by this administration and then conferred by the Taliban about when they're going to get everyone out by. We have, by some estimates, 40,000, by some estimates even more, people that are stranded, desperate to get out of this country. It does not appear to the layman's eye that we're going to be able to hit that deadline and ensure the security of the Americans we need to protect. What happens here if we find ourselves in a world where the Taliban feel like they've honored their argument argument, their agreement, and all of a sudden they just seize complete and utter control of the entire region?
Well, that's going to happen at some point, without question. I guarantee it. This is an embarrassment on the world scene. It makes America look weak. And frankly, we have been dealing with it in a weak way. The disappointment is unbelievable. And by the way, exit strategy, what should have happened is we should have gotten all the Americans out, all the Afghanis that work with us out, and then made sure to protect our equipment, either destroy it, unfortunately, or get it out, but in no way let the Taliban have it. They've got the guns now. They've got, literally the helicopters and every other form of munitions and everything that we fear that we didn't want them to have. It's so bad. And already there are stories coming out the Chinese are reverse engineering already some of our equipment. So we've given our best stuff over to people that are our enemies. And I'm going to repeat again, either this president needs a cognitive test to find out whether he actually even knows what he's doing, because this is so bad, I don't know how anybody could do this, or he's purposely done something that's awful.
Well, Congressman Taylor, to that specific point, you look at what's happened here with President Biden. Many of the things that he said in that speech to the nation, I think there are a lot of people on both sides of the aisle that would agree with it. The problem becomes, the inconvenient truth is, well, were you either so oblivious to the reality on the ground that you missed this outcome, or somehow were you lying to us before and now this is just a convenient argument to make? Because for the last 2 months, for the last 4 months, going all the way back to when he decided he wanted to be a candidate for president, this attitude towards Afghanistan that he is articulating was nowhere to be found from him or his officials.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. The president's, the dissonance between what he says then and now. For instance, saying the Taliban would not take over the country, is what he said 3 weeks ago, and now he's saying, I always knew they would take over the country. It was priced into the equation. Yesterday I said, Americans are not having a problem getting to the airport. And then you've had administration officials say, yeah, Americans are having a problem getting to the airport. So you have to wonder, is either incompetent or completely dishonest. Either way, the leadership here is abysmal, and it's hurting real people. It's hurting Afghanis on the ground, Americans on the ground. It's destabilized the entire region. Our reputation around the world has been severely harmed by this incompetence or dishonesty. Our allies are really wondering, do we know what the heck we're doing? And I've got to admit, I don't think that Biden knows what he's doing. It doesn't seem to me he has a handle on this. And again, he is planning for failure. Right now, if the administration sticks with this current plan, we are going to leave tens of thousands of people behind in Afghanistan, and that's just morally wrong and unacceptable for the future of this country.
Absolutely. From no man left behind to Americans, lend me your ears, fend for yourself. Truly a remarkable about-face we're seeing here in broad daylight in real time. Congressman Jeff Van Drew, Congressman Van Taylor, thank you so much. God bless you both. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.